People are not genuine on LinkedIn. I'm sorry. That's just my own opinion. My son like, Mommy, what do you do? Sister Chef pose. All the time. I can't really talk about a product designer without talking about UXUI first. We constantly have to fight for design. I was born, designer, even a 40. You're busy moving pixels there. I always call her first. Yeah, these are girls that are focused, Yeah, they focused. They're after the bag. Dress up well, look good, child. Smell good too. Put a smile on your face and be honest. If you want to be a designer, there's so much you can do out there. There's something for everyone. And anyone can literally become a designer. I'm like,
welcome to the Millennials Corner, where most of us are lost in a trance.
Yes, sir. What do you do, Buffet? To welcome back to another exciting episode of TMC Podcast. My name is Guy Luyanda. Well, actually, I have spent most of my adult life trying to define creativity, right? And when I bumped into this definition, I was like, God, this resonates on so many levels. And it said creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, breaking rules, making mistakes while having fun. And I felt this kind of like defines the journey. Yeah, Amanda, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So hailing all the way, Bafetu, from the south of Johannesburg, please help me welcome Amanda Hlatswayo. So just defines us about Amanda Bafetu. In 2018, she took risks herself and decided to pivot into the world of UI design at one of the big 5 banks in the Southern Africa. Of course, I'm talking about Nedbank. And yeah, I mean, she worked her way up, and today she is a product designer doing dope shapes. So definitely you can be rest assured that there's a lot to unpack on this episode. And I think it was also worthwhile to mention that she is a mother of 2 beautiful babies. Yes. And 1 fur baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Amanda in 2010 was crowned a top achiever at Boston.
Yes, correct.
How amazing.
Yeah.
And also had for this thing the awards can tell you how since the
apparently so. Apparently so.
Before we get started on that, Buffet, I just want to remind you that TMC is the brainchild of some super cool millennials who love talking about technology, creativity, almost with a sprinkle of everything else in between. So if this is the kind of stuff that you're into, please do us a solid. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, and let your friends know that you are part of the community, because it helps keep the magic at TMC alive. Man, you're saying I'm cool. You're gonna jump into it. Please grab your snack and let's get the party started. Man, you look so stunning.
Thank you.
Taking the time.
It's a pleasure.
Your presence.
Yeah.
To do this podcast thing with us.
It's a pleasure. Nervous, excited. So yeah.
Speaking of nerves, this thing that we do on TMC, it's a culture type vibe.
Okay.
We play an icebreaker called Underrated or Overrated, just break the ice. So a little bit about this icebreaker, Buffet, right? It was helped put together by Roy Manitou, and Roy Manitou is a range of effervescence wines. So if that is something that you're into, please check the QR code on the screen. Scan it, check their website. Maybe you'll find something a little will tickle your fancy. Who knows? On Twitter. So should we get started with
Let's do it.
Please. I will give you a word, and then I ask you if you think the word is overrated or that particular thing rather is overrated or underrated. In 1 line or less than a paragraph, you tell me why you think that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you rock and roll now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yo, sizobhalile caution.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee is underrated. I love coffee. Right. I like I can't wake up in the morning and not have coffee. Even like my partner and my kids know, like, mommy cannot do anything without coffee. So I need that cup of coffee. So definitely underrated.
Amazing. Let's go. Brainstorming sessions.
Brainstorming sessions.
In a creative setting, I guess.
Underrated. They're very important. And especially having everyone in the team involved. You get people giving you ideas that you never even thought about, two or more brains are better than one. So it's, underrated.
LinkedIn.
I'm on the fence on this one. Okay. It's underrated and overrated. I'll say overrated because I don't think people are not genuine on LinkedIn. I'm sorry. That's just my own opinion, right? In how they speak, in how they move. They're not genuine. It's like, oh, I need to put up this facade. I need to come across as professional. Just be yourself. Yeah. Right? If people could be themselves on LinkedIn, I think then it would be underrated. Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple on pizza?
Yeah.
That's so random. Pineapple on pizza. My son doesn't like it. I'll say overrated just because of that. I'll just say that. Yeah.
Owning a pet.
Listen, underrated.
Yeah.
I love what my pet has done for my kids, right? And I love what my kids have done for my pet. The skills that they've taught each other, really beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. Amazing. Yeah.
High school reunions.
Overrated. I don't want to see you. It's fine. I'm okay.
But I think it's a nice opportunity for people to, check out on each other.
Certain people, not everyone. Certain people, yeah, definitely.
Figma.
Underrated. If Figma was used correctly, things would run so smooth and fast at a workspace. We have these conversations a lot at work where I always tell the devs that, guys, you need to learn this tool, because if you learn it, then we would move so much faster. It would prevent other conversations, unnecessary conversations sometimes. So, yeah.
Speaking of a design tool, Canva.
I don't know what to say. I've got my teammates, they try to make me use Canva now and then for presentations. Apparently it's quick. I've never used it personally. So I can't really say much about it.
All right.
Yeah.
We spoke about awards and you having, a couple under your belt.
Yeah.
So awards.
Underrated. It's so nice when I got my award this year, and this award was an award where my colleagues had to vote who gets it, right? It means so much when you're being recognized by your colleagues. It means you're doing something right. And it meant so much to me. I couldn't even believe it because I wasn't expecting it. Right? And I won 2 awards where one was my colleagues from the design team, and then the other one were colleagues from the organization. So it means stakeholders, POs, Scrum Masters. And for the fact that I got it, I was like, no, I'm definitely doing something right. So yeah, underrated.
What a confidence booster. I heard you were on vacation a couple of minutes ago. Vacations?
Vacations, underrated. You need to take a break. You need to break away from your space, your workspace, right? In order to stay motivated and focused. Because if you're going to go on, burnout is going to get you. And burnout is not nice. I've been there. So you need to break away. And you know what? You get motivated when you see different spaces, when you're surrounded by different people. So it's nice to get away from those 4 walls.
I'd love to hear that. Mobile first designs.
Which answer do you want?
Overrated.
No, I'm just answering you, but honestly. It's underrated. It's underrated. We often design web first, and then we want to go to mobile, which is not the correct way of doing things, right? You need to start from here, the smaller screen size, and scale up, right? Yeah, because you find that now you've got so much on your web page. Now you need to put it on mobile. It needs to be responsive. It needs to go down, and things start to break, right? So definitely underrated.
I think in a world of, where users are center of everything that we do, and most of them, taking into account the fact that most users are on their mobile.
Exactly.
It just makes sense,
Yeah.
Yeah. Last but not least, does that mean it's the last one? You get last but not least.
It's the last one, but we are not done with the questions yet. Let's go.
Exercise or gym?
Oh, underrated, 100%. Gym, I can tell you this about gym. Gym is a lifestyle. It never ends. Once you stop, you can't, once you start, you can't stop, right? But I like what it does to your body, to your mind, right? You could be at the gym because or you could be at the gym because it's your way of escaping your reality. It's just the time where you get to yourself, for yourself. And I like how when I'm at the gym, listen, I don't even think about my kids. I forget. When I'm on that treadmill or I'm lifting weights, it's all about me at that time. And it feels so good. It feels good, yeah.
Hectic, amazing stuff. So, Afetu, that is how we come to the end of this exciting game, but again, underrated or overrated. Is that ice?
Yeah. I feel good.
I'm nice. Yes. So let's get into it. When I start these conversations, mostly I actually like to get a sense of like this thing is like top of mind for me. I like to get a sense of whether or not people are living in their purpose. So even for you right now, I think there's a lot of cool things that I've learned about you, and in your journey you pivoted quite a lot, and you worked for a lot of dope businesses. And I think where you are right now and how far you've come, do you feel like you are living your purpose?
Yeah, I think I am. You know what? I believe in God's timing. I believe in the universe. The universe has placed me here. This is where I am. And I feel like that it's exactly where I'm supposed to be. Therefore, yes, I am living my purpose. Yeah.
Do you ever encounter moments where you feel like, I thought this is actually where I want to be, but isn't really, where you start questioning if you perhaps should now start looking into other things, or maybe you feel like you are inadequate. Maybe you should kind of take a backseat and then how do you deal with those kind of moments if they ever even happen?
No, I don't ever feel like maybe I could be doing something else, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or what I'm doing is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Yes, I do have moments where I feel like I could do more. There's moments where I'm like, where to from here? Because I always have this thing in my mind that I was born, designer, even at 40, you're busy moving pixels there. No. No. The Gen Zs are coming in now, right? And they're so dope. And I'm like, do I see myself sitting with a 25-year-old while I'm 40 and we're both designing there? No. I don't. So I was like, what's next? So I'm looking at what I could do next.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But in those moments, how do you speak to yourself? Because I think a lot of people can really judge themselves.
Yeah.
Actually, in those kind of situations where they now, they push themselves hard.
Yeah.
And you even forget to realize that you are in a good place and be grateful. Take a moment to be grateful for how far you've come. What are the things that you say to yourself that kind of keep you in line, tuning?
I always affirm myself all the time. And if I can't, I'll always seek affirmation from people close to me. Take forward, be like, dude, am I ready? really? Like, dude, relax. Yeah. And then they start, I like the people close to me because they always keep me honest. Ben better, we are better, you know, and if I'm doing good, they'll always affirm me. Sometimes I don't even need to seek it. Like, it just comes to me and I'm like, it's as if you guys knew, Uguti, I needed this, right? But coming back to myself, I speak to myself a lot. I affirm myself a lot. It's like, dude, you're fine. You're doing good. You're right. So that's how I keep myself going.
Amazing. So who do you call first?
You're gonna get me in trouble. I've got a friend, Humuzo. I always call her first. Okay. Yes. Okay, yeah. Yes.
So man, you are a product designer, right?
Yes.
So for somebody who has never heard of product design before, how would you define it? Like, think about like a 7-year-old who's like, what do you want to be? I want to be a product designer. What is that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I have those conversations all the time with my son. Like, Mommy, what do you do?
And I think even with our parents, because these are, new things, especially in like black community, because they know like you are a doctor, a policeman, teacher. So now designer.
Yes, I'll tell you a story later about parents and the work that I do. We'll touch on it.
Forget.
I won't. We'll touch on it later. But if I were to explain it to a 7-year-old, I'd say I design products that are user-friendly, right? I design it that it's so simple that they can understand it, right? So that, to a 7-year-old, yes, that's how I'd explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of products are we talking about? Just perhaps give me an example of a real-life product that you have designed. Yeah.
Okay, so there's quite a few. But the one that's out now, it's with one of the major banks. And it was during COVID that I worked on this product specifically. And everyone just like losing their minds. Like, guys, how do we get people to still come to the bank? Without having to stand in lines, without having to... because people are scared, right? It was COVID and all that stuff. So one of the products that we had to build was book an appointment, where you could book an appointment with your banker if you have one, or with a banker. They would assign a banker to you that would assist you. So you could either come into the bank or have it over the phone or even video call them. So that was a really cool...
In the process, how are you involved in the process?
I can't really talk about a product designer without talking about UXUI first.
Amazing. So
right?
UXUI is short for user experience. User interface and user experience.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll explain further, right? So a UI designer would mostly be concerned about the design system, the design elements, your fonts, your colors, right? The interaction, how... If I click a submit button, what happens next? Like, oh, congratulations, you're done, confettis, So that's just mentioning a few. And then a UX designer, going back to a UI designer, okay, that also put together prototypes, right? And then a UX designer would work on user journey, user flows, the IA, not the AI, the IA information architect, right? That's how you find, like, for example, you're on the home button, you click on the menu button, and then it brings through a list of other things you could do. That's AI. Like, where do you place certain things within the website or within the app? So they'd be concerned about that. And then a product designer, on the other hand, would be concerned about business requirements, time frames, right? Money, and also UI, UX, essentially you'd find them in startups or like smaller organizations, right? Versus a product designer, you'd mostly find them in bigger organizations. So I'll explain. So with UI, UX, they focus mainly on specific features or multiple products at the same time, where a product designer only focuses on that one specific product. So I'll give you an example. If we look at Uber, Uber has a client-facing app. It has an app for the drivers, and it has its own website. Sure. Those are 3 different product designers working on those things. So you would be assigned to one product. So maybe I'm responsible for designing how the client has to request for a driver, right? So I'd specifically work on that and not touch on the other products or other things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now we know what you do, the dope work that you do.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you are in a place where you know you are in your peppers.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take it back, like rewind. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, who's this beautiful lady? Where's she from? What's her story? Tell us a little bit more about Amanda Hlatswayo, your upbringing. So I think I'd like to get a sense of, where you were born, raised, the kind of schools that you went to, and the bits and pieces of things that you drew inspiration from.
I grew up in Soweto. I would alternate between my parents and my grandmother, depending who I'm feeling at that time. It depends. I say I'm bored. I don't get
she tells you when he's in the mood for you.
My grandmother was always in the mood for me. I loved her so much. So I grew up in Orlando. Yeah. I grew up in Naledi. That's where my grandparents lived. And then later on, my parents moved to Meerdale. Okay. So I went to Meerdale. So when I was in Naledi, I went to a Riboni primary school. It was just like a school just around the corner from our house. And then I later moved and I started school at a very young age. Oh my gosh, I think I was 4 or 5. Yeah. Then I went to a Naturena primary school. Okay. They made me repeat grade 1 because I was so young.
Actually, I almost said when you get down to repeat grade 1, Johnny.
Oh, no. Okay. So, I was too young. So I know we can't. So they moved me back to grade 1 in Naturena primary. So that was my entire primary school. And then high school, Mama Wataki, so I'm a Sentinyana. Yeah, well, bump up the level. So she took me to a Holy Family College. Okay. Then I went to Holy Family College, high school. And then college, I went to a Boston Media House. Amazing. Yes, yeah. So how I grew up, typical man, girl next door, nothing much. Bengithanda computer. Bengithanda computer a lot.
When did you get your first computer?
Yeah, my mom got it when I was still very young. I was still in primary school. And I was always on Paint. Remember Paint? Yes. I was always on Paint, drawing things up. Now I'm going to tell you that story. So how I got to my career, right, with my mom and stuff like that. So always on Paint, always drawing. And then high school, I'm 17 now. My mom is like, in fact, I'm like, I don't know. I am so lost. Amazi. She's like, I'm in graphic design.
Oh, your mom?
My mom, yes. If it wasn't for her, real talk, I wouldn't be here. She is. So she's like, Kondi graphic design. Suzohamba CEO, so you check out Boston Media House with his keepan. And then she tells my dad, and my dad is like, my dad is a radiographer, right? So he didn't understand this word. He's like, he didn't understand it. But in any case, I went to college and I got my diploma in graphic design.
So your mom actually, because our generation, we're like, if your mom hears that you want to do anything outside, the conventional,
yes.
Like, why? How? So it's just amazing who it's for, and it was your mom.
Yes.
Yes. And then now that you got into graphic design, what affirms that idea or with you can actually pursue a career and it will work out? What are the things that you draw inspiration from?
Right now, where I draw inspiration from, or you're asking from before?
Before, yeah. When you just started, because it's kind of blank at the
yes.
time, and you rely on other people's stories or
yes.
people who are actually doing it at that time.
Yeah.
Say, oh, maybe actually there's a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't follow people much. Yes. I didn't. But I like the idea of I could work on something and it could be out there and I could actually see it. And I could say, hey,
I did that.
And it always felt good when I started, right, to say, hey, man, I did that. But there are a few people that I followed, not even a few. There's a painter called Frida. I really loved her story. I still resonate with her story till today. And then there's another girl, age group, I love that girl so much. Lulama Wolf. Yeah, Lulama Wolf, yeah. I think that's her. No, she's a painter. Full-time painter. And then she's beautiful. She's doing great things. Like, sometimes is like all over the world, which is great. So now and then I would go and check, hey, how is she doing? What's happening there? She inspires me so much. Yeah. So those are the really top 2 people I can think of. Yeah. If I were to mention others, they are in the creative space, but they're not necessarily doing what I'm doing. Right. I like what the creative corner boys are doing. I think they are in charge of Waffle. Uncle Waffles, yeah. I think she's part of the creative corner, those boys. I like what they're doing. I like Uncle Waffles. I like people like, back then I used to follow Ubanang a lot. And these are girls that are focused, Yeah, they're focused. They're after the bag. They are focused. So those are the people that would inspire me a lot at my young age, yeah.
It feels to me like you grew up engineering predominantly, like you were on your PC, on your screen and doing your thing.
Yeah.
And then now you get into college.
Yeah.
And like how was that college journey for you? How did it change you even as a person, I guess?
I was very ambitious, when I was young. So when I started my first year, I was already working part-time job. I was.
Was it motivated by putting
My mom pushed me.
Yeah.
She's like, that woman, she's so clever. She pushed me. She's like, I want you to understand how it feels like to wake up in the morning and earn money that is yours, right? Whether you are studying or you're doing what, I want you to, right? So she got me a job, part-time job in a library. Oh my gosh. I was working at a library on weekends. And then, on Saturdays, I was working at the library. And then I had friends. I had mostly guy friends. That was my thing. So my friends mostly were guys. So I met these 2 guys, Upringo, no Dash. So what we did, So what we did is we started our own company called UXUI Designs, which is 92 Designs, right? And what we did was we were doing photography, we were doing animation and graphic design. So my weekends were always busy. I was like, being such a fools most of the time. Yes, chef was. The towers. Yeah, the towers. Yes, just the chef pose. It's kind of all the time. So, but then, because my mom also didn't like me going out, like partying and stuff like that, it was one way to get out of the house, but bring some money back home. So we used to like take pictures there. And then we'd get like amakinyana here and there for like artists. I used to design album cover, so yeah, that was my college life.
During that time, who are the big artists that you got a chance to work with?
Yeah, I remember when John Legend came through, we went to the concert and we were taking pictures for, was it KWV? It's an alcohol brand. Yes, we were taking pictures for, they took us there. And then I remember once...
Serious money.
It's serious money. serious money. And then I remember there was a time, I forgot the artist's name now. I'm like, it's not that big. there wasn't really much of the bigger people, but we'd also like collaborate because they like to host events and stuff like that. So we design flyers for them. Yeah.
So how does it fall off now, 92 Designs? Because you guys are doing great. You know, getting invited by your likes of PWV.
Yes.
Making good money.
Yes.
What happens?
I fell pregnant. I fell pregnant. Yes, I fell pregnant at my last year of college. And then everything had to slow down. And I'm still going to school, right? Since I push schooling. I fell pregnant, and then my parents got divorced. So everything was just like, you know, it was hard times. So, but in any case, I stayed motivated after I had my son. Yeah, but I'm taller, and then I started pushing again. Can I tell you? My application are more than 100 and something, right? And I'm not attaching anything with these emails. And I never realized when I was at work, I was applying at home. You're applying.
You're like, why
please see attached. Please see attached file. And I'm like, I'm fine. No attachment. This one company sends back an email, say, hey, nothing attached. Yeah, but I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Now I get 2 mail, and it's in less than 5 minutes. I get a call. They call me, and it's my interview. They call me, they're like, hey, when can you come in for an interview? I'm like, anytime, you know? Like, okay, what's am I? I'm like, no, okay, well, not now. They're like, okay, tomorrow morning. I'm like, sure. My mom, utata day off. I take my son, somebody 3. We drive to that place, Safiga. Interview, it's done. The next day they call me, I got the job.
Oh, how amazing.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. And I think when it happens at that time, you know, after you dealt with like it feels like your journey was tumultuous after you fall pregnant. Now everything slows down, which means that money is coming in. Parents divorce.
Yes.
How do you pick yourself up from that?
Yeah. Dude, it was hard. It was really hard. But I'm one person, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic. I'm always like, how do we move forward? So, and I always wanted to see my mom happy, you know? So I was like, aim fair to, because we went back to an empty home. It's like, aim fair to, listen.
What do you mean empty home?
There's nothing there, right? Yeah, they divorced. They're sharing stuff. There's that, now you take this, you know how it goes. So there's nothing there. And I'm like, you know what? Don't worry. For salary, I renovate. Second salary, I'm buying her couches. I'm like, yes. So now we're moving at this job. So we're like sharing. We're sharing responsibilities. It was a printing company, a large format printing company. And my first job was I was a DTP operator. But it was fun at that time. So it's a desktop publisher, that's what they call them. But what you do is you prep files for print. Yeah. So I would get the work designed already. It'll come to me.
I just our CMYK.
CMYK. I'm seeing, but I liked where I started.
Yeah.
Because it taught me so much.
So
right?
How much did you make at that time?
My first job,
yeah.
I got 4.5.
Okay. What year was this?
This was 2013.
Okay, it was okay.
At that time, it's my first job, and I didn't mind, right? Because I was like, as long as I didn't have. But I moved around a lot.
Okay.
I moved around.
Actually, tell me about that.
Yes.
Your career progression.
So I worked for the large format company for a year, and then I moved to another one for a year. Then I moved to another one. Printing company, still all these 3. Yeah. So the first one was Diffusion Digital. The second one was Sisonke Printers. They've both closed down, unfortunately. All 3 actually, Nebitverse Printers. Yeah, they've all closed down. And then after those 3, I was like, okay, cool. I've got a sense of how agency work, because we used to get work from the agencies. Yeah. So I was like, I've got a sense of how they work and stuff like that. I think I really want to go to an agency now, right? So I apply for a job at an agency in Bryanston, right? And then I get the job.
I had you worked for Clockwork. Is
Yes, that's Clockwork Media. Yes, really cool guys. There's two guys doing their own thing there. It was really cool. I like the culture there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
I really like the culture.
At some stage, I was actually looking for a job a couple of years ago, and I bumped into their site.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yes.
At that time.
Yes.
I just looked at their website, culture, videos on YouTube, and I was like, I wonder what.
Yo, it was so dope. Listen.
And even their client base.
100%. So I also at that time, the industry that I'm in, it's mostly white dominated. So here am I, young black woman in this industry.
So ministerial.
You know what? Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. So it was fun. So I got there. I learned a lot from these boys, Evan and Michael, because they were kind of like my mentors at that time. And we were working on a really dope account in Microsoft, right? So we were like designing websites for your Xbox. Oh, amazing. Yo, it was fun. Yeah. It was fun, but I had to move. Yeah. Right. I had to move. If you are enjoying I want to grow. Yeah, of course. It's all, the more you move, the bag gets bigger. Definitely. And I mean, you know what? Back then, like my grandmother used to say, like, oh my God, umsebenzi, shintsha umsebenzi, umlungu uyamhlonipha, all that stuff. You be loyal to umlungu. No, I mean, if I were to advise you, I'd say move around as much as you can because you are gaining experience. Your money is getting bigger, so like it's all that stuff. So yeah, I had to move. I had to grow. I felt like there wasn't much for me there anymore. As much as I really liked the culture there, I was like, it's time to move.
To the point about moving around, I was talking to, I was having a chat with Pat Patamidi on TMC Podcast 1 sometime last year, I think, and he spoke about not being loyal to the business because if shit kind of like goes south, they will like discard you like it's nothing, and I think one of the standout points that he made was that if you pay attention, people who are prone to get jobs quicker is people who move around a lot. Why? Because they know how they know how the space has evolved, what recruiters are looking for. They are fresh, man. They do interviews at least every 2 years. They know how to conduct interviews. Like compared to someone who's been with a company for 10 years. So in the last 10 years, you haven't like actively been in the job market space, and the money thing also. Yeah. You stay in one company, you get 1% or 10% if you are lucky increase every year. After 10 years, I'll check. Your salary has went from 10,000 to 12.5.
Exactly.
And you're like, what's the balance?
And real talk, let's be honest, money motivates people. Absolutely. Yeah, we can't shy away from that.
Yeah, but sometimes you find the money is good, but the toxicity in the place. And it just like landed when I saw this post called LinkedIn. This guy was like, if a job should either pay you well or be right for your mental health. If it does both, amazing. Yeah. Right. So I think, Lena, that's what I actually like look for every time I am at a job. I'm like, what am I getting from here? Yeah. I am like me. I'm at a place where my mental health is like,
awesome. So love it for you.
Looking good. I'm in a happy place. Right? But I'm not complacent because like anything could go wrong. I always like make sure I keep myself in check with what's how the world of recruitment is evolving as well. So and then after Clockwork, where did you go?
A friend of mine told me about a consulting company, right? So I applied there. So how they work is they take you based on their client, if their client wants you or not, right? Okay. So they were happy with my CV. They sent it through to their client, which is Nedbank, and Nedbank was happy, right? And then I went for my interview at Nedbank, and then got the job. Yeah, well, and one thing about me is I like the universe. I like, it's like I've never been rejected. Never. Not even once.
As of reject
Never.
Yeah.
Never. It's never going to happen. It's not in my books. It's not written like that.
All right.
So, Bangbi's again at Bank, and I started. And when I started, that's when I got introduced to UI design. And I did not know what this thing is. I was like, I'm there. I did not even know the tools that they were using. And I was so fortunate that I got, when I got to Nedbank, the girl that I was working with, she was the UX designer.
Yeah.
Nadia Makai. Not Nakai, Makai. Oh. Yes.
Nadia. Shout out.
Yes. Oh man, she held my hand. She held my hand from the beginning till she left us. She walked me through everything because it's a new environment. Now you're working on an agile space. Now you're working with Sketch and Innovision, later to be changed to Figma, And all I knew was Adobe, Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator. Done. That was it. That's all I knew. But moving from Adobe to Sketch was very easy because these tools are very... from Adobe, InDesign, and Illustrator to Sketch was easy because the tools are the same, right? As long as you know where to find your pen, your shapes and your stuff, it's fairly easy.
And I think we live in a world where if you don't know where it is, you can go on YouTube and say,
listen,
too deep and then you get a 1 minute video.
That's how you learn, right? I've spent a lot of time on YouTube, right? And back then when I started with my career, YouTube was not a thing, right? Even internet was so slow. Buffering, they're busy, like, okay. But
those are the days where 5 megabytes could last you the whole night.
Yes. So, so I got into YouTube. I learned how to use these tools. Then, even today, I use YouTube.
It's of YouTube.
YouTube.
You say something interesting, right?
Yeah.
And I like how you say it with, your chest.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm irrejectable.
Yes.
What do you think is there about you that you do differently that just makes you unrejectable? If somebody would learn and replicate if they wanted also kind of win and accepted in open every door that they would actually love.
Yeah. So I asked myself this a lot before I could even gain the confidence to say it. I was like, kanjani? Kanjani? Is it inhlanhla zami? Madlozi wama act, they're working overtime. It's fine. I'm like, what is it about me, right? And then I realized, if you learn soft skills, so important. Learn how to communicate. You don't need to, like I was saying, with the soft skills are very important. Learn how to communicate. And you don't need to be the cleverest person in the room. So and you think, yes, you're going to get the job because you know all these big words. No, be confident, know how to talk, know how to represent yourself well, dress up well, look good, child. Smell good too, put a smile on your face and be honest. If you don't know it, you don't. If you do, talk more about it.
The next question that I wanted to ask was, there's somebody out there who's watching this video, and these are the people that we make this kind of content for.
Okay.
And they aspire to do what you do. What kind of tools would you say they need to learn? What qualities, like you spoke about, soft skills, what skills would they need to have? And how would they even go about applying for those type of jobs?
Yeah. So I would say do a course, right? A course is enough. And these days it's so much simpler because you can specifically say, okay, I want to be a UI designer and go learn UI design. Where back then it's like graphic design, there's so many options now these days. So I would say, take a year course. I'd say learn the tools, Figma, very important. I'd say try and find someone who's already in the industry, right? Allow them to mentor you because you need that person, that support. I've also had a mentor. So those are the things I'd say top of the list you should do. Yeah.
So in terms of I guess maybe the tools you haven't have you used, do you talk about them? What tools would you say are non-negotiables for them to learn?
Adobe. Even though we don't use it much, but it would be great to learn Adobe. And then it's Figma. That's it. There are other tools, to be honest, but most organizations have moved to Figma because it's such a great tool to collaborate, right? You and I could be working on the same thing, and you could be in London, I could be here, right? It's even nice because you don't even need to be on Teams to have a conversation. There's a little button there on Figma where you click on it and we can be talking to each other, right? We leave live comments there for each other. You can even have your devs come in. They can inspect in dev mode. So it's a tool for everyone.
How is that for not working inside?
Yeah.
So now that you know, these are the things that I need to learn.
Yes.
And then this is how I need to conduct myself.
Sure.
But do you advise them to go into, I don't know, but maybe advice is a bad word for in their community.
Okay, all right.
Advise them to go into corporate or agency because you've had the pleasure of experiencing, the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why?
If you're young, right? Still have time. Move around. Go to the agency. Have a feel of how they work. Because agencies hey, we're chasing deadlines. Now, sometimes you don't even go home at 5. You'd be going home at 10, 11, 12, right? But that's the beauty of it, right? You get to learn, you get to see how other people work versus corporate where things are done in an agile way. Everything has a time frame, and corporate people conduct themselves differently versus agency life. And I like the agency life because you get to, it's where you grow, man. It's where you see what you like, what you don't like, before you even get to settle. I think corporate is more when, okay, I've decided this is where I am, I want to settle, and this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think another thing about agency is the fast-paced nature.
It's fast,
Yes. It's an agency, it's vibes, man.
It's also vibes, yes.
Corporate, they can take the whole year building one landing page. And then agency, they give me, they're yo, when do you want it? Man, I want it in the next 5 minutes.
There's good and bad to that. There's pros and cons to that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Maybe you can say it's the quality.
Yeah.
Because now we live in a world where qualities can only be proven by the customer.
Yes.
I believe in the nature or the culture of learning quick and coming back to reiterate.
Okay.
Going out there. Whereas with corporate, you can find out what you've been working on this landing page for the whole 6 months. And after that 6 months, it's not working. It's not what the customers want. And that can be crushing, I guess.
Yeah. That's why it's so important to have your roles like your UX, and there's another role that's called CX design, which is customer experience, right? Yeah, there's so much to design, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to unpack all of them, but if you want to be a designer, there's so much you can do out there. There's something for everyone, and anyone can literally become a designer.
You speak about there being something for everyone, which like give me an idea that, if you work in this kind of like environment, you work with teams,
Yes.
people. So how do you kind of like navigate having to work with people? Like, how do you kind of like like how do you work with people?
Yeah. When you work in a big team, you come across different personalities, different styles, how people work. And I think it becomes difficult sometimes, to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It becomes really difficult, but you need to find it in yourself to say, okay, cool. This is my professional space. This is how I want to conduct myself in this space. And I think I'm glad that I went through my mental health journey, right? Because it helped me to balance out my work life and my personal life. Because like I said earlier, I know how burnout feels like, right? And when you're burnt out, the way you conduct yourself in front of people, it messes that up too, right? So basically having a good mental health, knowing how to express yourself, things are different from how things were back then. I mean, if you're not okay, you're not okay. Yeah. If you don't feel like meetings today, but you want to work, you don't feel like meetings today. Sure. You just say, guys, angikho right. Going through something, I don't know, but I'm going through Nyakowisha right now, and I just need space, right? And people understand now because they respect mental health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So being a product designer, what would you say are the most common challenges that you encounter?
Where business is now, I feel like, and where design is within the business, we haven't really found our foot in kahle, right? Ngati, the people that are in the business don't 100% understand design yet. So we constantly have to fight for design. People don't understand what it means to design for the user. Because back in the days, it was all about, we've got the technology, Asambeni, let's do this thing, Got the technology, got this budget, we know we've got this business requirement, let's just push that and out, right? Where now, me as a product designer, I come in and say, okay, cool, I hear your business requirements. Now I need to find out, is this product what we need to want to land to the people? Yeah. Do the people really want it? Right? And if they do, how do we make it easy for them to use this product, keeping in mind the business requirements, right? So challenges are that is that I just hope in the future design grows. We keep design first in mind before we do anything, because you find that when projects start, it's okay, we've got the devs, we've got the team. Okay, here, bring in the designers. We want this thing, make it happen. And design is supposed to be involved from the beginning. When the stakeholders sit and we say, this is what we want, the designer needs to be there to hear you out and start planning around that before you even call your devs to come building. Because now you find that we have devs who are sitting now waiting for designs. It's like, guys, Kanti, why is it taking you guys so long? Hurry up. So those are the kind of challenges that we face, unfortunately, right now. Also, it's time, basically.
It's so
time constraints.
People in business, they're like, but you've had this for 2 days.
Exactly. No.
Constantly having to prove how important design is.
Yes.
And I think, most of the time they'll be like, okay, this is how we want it. And just make it happen that way, forgetting that there is no business without the customer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if whatever that we're creating is not customer centric, then what are we even doing? I think the most even annoying feedback that you would ever get from your senior is like, I just don't feel this design.
Yeah, it's like, what are you guys doing? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You're feeling kind of like,
Yes.
what are you saying?
Yeah.
And I think like there's a very huge gap between business and design.
And design, yes, 100%.
Most of people in business, they would give you feedback based on how they feel.
How they feeling, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Like, oh no,
About that.
make it bigger, make it pop.
You
It's
know-
like, no, we can't make it bigger, make it pop.
Use the red button here.
That's not accessible. Like, it's not, right? So it's like, they don't even understand that, right? Like, we need to also consider people who are colorblind,
Yeah,
right? And that's part of the design process,
Exactly.
right? We need to go and test these things and see, okay, if I make this button like this and I put it here, umuntu okhalabblind uzokwazi now ukubona the text on this button, right? So, yeah, futhi when it comes to user testing, they don't understand it at all. It's a problem.
I mean, for you, because there's like a lot of friction
Yes.
between like business and designs, right?
Yeah.
How do you, when you're just alone, like business locked out, you're not even thinking about business, but you're just thinking about your work and ensuring that it actually becomes like a piece that is appealing to the customer and it lends or maybe delivers the actual message that you want to deliver. It even guides them through the journey that you were intending with your design. Like, how do you achieve that?
I always fight for the user all the time, all the time. So I always need to remind myself why are we doing this, right? Even when it becomes difficult, when like your stakeholders don't understand, and always push back, because everyone is always pushing back somewhere somehow. So learn how to push back, right? Because you'll find also devs come back and say, no, we can't do this here. You also can come in and say, we can't do this because the user won't understand it. And it's always nice to always have evidence. You bring in the evidence, you bring in the recordings, bring in the data, let them listen to what the users are saying. Because once they hear it, then they're like, actually, this is a thing. It changes. So fight for the customers and bring in the data, because our people are scared of data. Once you bring the numbers, like,
You can't have
no, you can't. It's yes.
Right, so feelings aside.
Yes, feelings aside. You're 100%.
I know that deep. Do you even think like the design space is evolving, like it has evolved over time, and if that is the case, how has it evolved, like from when you started until like now?
Yeah, it has evolved definitely a lot. A lot. I like the fact that, like I said, there's something for everyone. If you are into design, but you don't necessarily like moving pixels, you could go into like your CX and your UX, right? Be the voice of the client. If you maybe good with words, but you don't want to move pixels, you can be a UX writer, or a UX researcher, or anything like that, right? So there's space for everyone. Yeah,
definitely.
It has evolved, because back then it was just like, I'm a graphic designer. Okay, what do you do? I design posters, I design layouts, magazines, websites, web design sometimes, but now we've taken web design and
I think
we're breaking it up.
Yeah. Talking about web design, designers who move pixels, they never actually involved themselves in the website design work, unless if I say I need pictures for the website.
Yes.
It was the devs work.
It was the devs work before, yes, 100%.
UX and UI now, it's just making it like the, designer's job.
Yes.
It has also like changed the whole face of design.
Yes.
That's why we have like beautiful and user-centric designs like your
Yes.
It is so beautiful.
Apple is beautiful. Yes, yeah.
Speaking of it being beautiful, what would you say is the most beautiful thing about your work?
The most beautiful thing about my work, I like I like solving problems. I like being challenged. I like change, So all those things, they're there in my everyday work life, right? And you can never get bored. All those things I get to touch on in my everyday life, I think that's what makes my job beautiful, and I enjoy it so much, yeah.
But what they say, not all that glitters is gold. Some bullshit.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
What are the lessons that you've picked up along the way, especially, from moments where, there's like friction, or maybe like it's not nice being graphic-minded, like what those lessons can like look like?
It's nice being a graphic designer. It's nice being a product designer. There are negatives. It can become really tiring at times. Sometimes you are fatigued. Sometimes you've got a block, creative block. You can't, I always say to my colleagues, if in a day, if I'm meant to work 8 hours, it doesn't mean I'll be productive for the whole 8 hours, Sometimes how I work is I would take my meetings during the day, and then I'd start working in the AMs. I'm that type of person. Like, I'll wake up 4, take my laptop, and that's the time I'm most creative. That's the time where the juices are flowing, So that's my style, my ways of working. So it works for me. So yeah, the things that you face as a designer are those type of things,
Yeah, I just wanted to say lastly, somebody's here watching, the people that we have said this before, and then people that we make this content for.
Yes.
Yeah, what advice would you give them? Like, this is not like specific to the work that you do, but like somebody just is going through it, or maybe they just like in a place where they are not sure whether they're coming or going, like which career to go into. Like, what advice would you give?
Yesterday is not the same as today. Today will not be the same as tomorrow. Things get better in time. We keep it moving. Sahamba, sakubek. So, if you're stuck and you're not sure if you're in the right career path, or you're scared to change, or anything like that, I would say follow your heart, follow your dreams. You never know, You find people. So at work, we've got this thing called Innovators of Tomorrow. And what we do is we open up applications for ordinary people. You could be a tiller, right? So an Uber driver today, or whatever. And you feel like, man, like I'm so interested in design, but I understand but I think like I want to become a designer, So we open up applications, and then we give you a challenge. And we say, respond to this challenge. You can respond in writing. You can respond in a video. You can respond in a thing that you've just built, right? Yeah, so you submit it, and then based on those, we then select a few people that can come into the office. And then we have a hackathon. And you get put in groups, and then we give you a case study. And we were like, okay, solve for this thing. And then you'll have mentors obviously around who can help you to solve for this problem, right? And then after that, you and your team will go in and present to a panel of people right there on the same day. Yeah, on the same. It's fun though, right? It's fun. You present to a panel, and then based on that, you are judged as an individual, not as a group, which is great, right?
Because everybody gets a chance to speak.
Yeah, everybody gets a chance to speak, and you get judged on you an individual as yourself, not as your group. Yeah, because it's unfair. Because your group didn't do so well. but where now you are shining, so you get judged on that. There's a criteria, obviously, and then the people that are called in, they come in for an internship of a year, and you get real-time experience of how it feels like to be a product designer.
Money.
And money. It is, yeah.
Would be the requirements.
You don't need, there's no requirements. It's not like you could just be, no, maybe matric only.
Really?
Yeah, just matric only, probably. But I'm saying probably because I'm not sure of the criteria 100%, but I know for sure you don't need to have a design experience or to like, we want at least a year of study. No, nothing like that, because they will put you in that. Yes. That's why I get
Yeah. So, I guess this is how we come to the end of this episode. And it's been really, really, really inspiring. And to a mother of 2 beautiful kids and 1 fair baby. So
yeah, three babies.
Anything that I have to that I had to take away from this, for myself, was that there is a place for everyone in this world. As long as you put yourself out there, as long as you're willing to learn, as long as you are honest, you can absolutely achieve that state of being unrejectable.
I am. Yes. Yes.
To do so nice. Don't forget, this is you. Actually, you need to look at that camera and to who you are firstly.
Yeah.
Ask them to not forget to subscribe and like the video. Yeah. Look at the camera and then
Hi, I'm Amanda Hlatswayo, a product designer at Nedbank. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's how we come to the end of it.
Thank you.
Wow.
No, again, I'm going to do the